All right, all right. Sorry, this is a little bit late because I was busy today, but we're here and it's time for patch notes. So, today we got patch 26.3 for League of Legends and patch 16.4 for Teamfight Tactics. Let's just start with League. Because I believe this is the change to MEL. Yeah, I see it already. And sorry, it's really, really dark in here. I can't really do anything about it. Because my light is actually not working. So I'm kind of using I gotta buy a new light, and I kind of just like have my television on, so if the background changes color, that's what that is. Anyway, let's just move on. So, first of all, new stuff for Era Mayhem, new augments, new augment sets, and a new progression track. I'm gonna gloss over that because I'm actually excited to see it for myself. I kind of want to see it as a bit of a surprise. I'm sure a lot of people have already gone over some of the new stuff. My God, there's a lot. All right, here we go. Champion bounties. We accelerated how quickly champion kill goal devalued in the new season, since there were already guaranteed wins around getting role quest progress and denying it from your opponents. However, we swung the tuning a little too hard, which has created scenarios where champion kills feel valueless. This patch we're landing in between 25.24 and 26.1. Value rate on death 1.2.5 gold, 1 per 3.5. Re-increment 1 per 5 gold, 1 per 7 gold. Yeah, so if you've been playing a lot of the new season, you'll notice if you kill someone and they come back to lane and you just kill them again, right? Because like your jungler shows up to get the re-kill or whatever, the repeat gank. Very often they're only worth like 100 gold, right? So it's actually not valuable to keep killing someone over and over. Like it almost feels like the kill is meaningless. So it looks like they're peeling back on that a little bit and making sure you get a little bit more gold for when you're killing someone in succession, which is nice. I kind of personally liked that. It was helpful if you were in a really losing position, right? Because you could get an unfortunate situation where your lane is just over and it sucked to walk back to lane and never be able to catch up because the difference in gold was just way too high. But it is an understandable change. Anyway, turret plates. It's too hard for teams to convert a winning team fight into meaningful progress. Yeah, turrets are really, really tanky. 20 plus 100 per plate based on nearby enemies. It's now 30 to 50 per plate. Wow. Yeah. Holy crap. So the way it was like an extra 20% resistances based on how many nearby enemy champs there were. But now it only goes up to 50, so it's halved if you have 5 people. But it's actually more if it's only one person. Yeah. Yeah, it resists a split push better. But the turrets will be less tanky when the whole team's hitting it. Cool. Phallites and Vision. Alright, so this is an awkward one. We all knew that them adding the ability to effectively ward the whole river by just putting it in one spot was going to be kind of suspicious. Reveal region shape. Expanded past Scuttle Pad and Epic Pit entrance. Cuts off before Scuttle Pad and Epic Pit entrance. Right, so this is the pixel brush right at the opening of the river. It cuts off before you get to the middle now. You can't see someone in the middle. Stealth Trinket. An extra 40 seconds at level 1. Damn, scaling down to 90. Scryer's Blooms. Remove Scryer Blooms just outside the base gates from Cloud/Chemtech Rift. Fiddlesticks. While pretending to be an effigy on a Phaelite, Fiddlesticks will now display on-model visual effects as if a Phaelite-enhanced effigy does. As if a Phaelite-enhanced effigy. Does not gain bonus vision or destroy existing wards. Huh. Okay. Nico. While disguised as a ward on a Phaelite, Nico will now display on-model visual effects. Okay, interesting. So I guess those two instances, which was Nico pretending to be a ward and Fiddlesticks putting an effigy down, didn't actually proc the bright blue or bright red that comes onto the screen when you activate the Phaelite. For support players on Summoner's Rift, controllers will now start in your role quest slot from the beginning of the match. Combined with the ability to double bind this hotkey, this should help smooth out the experience. I actually got confused when I got auto-filled into support because I didn't actually know what the support quest did. And I was so confused because I couldn't figure out how to place wards. Champions. Okay. Ari, Foxfire. Cooldown down by 1 at all ranks. Okay. A cute little buff for Ari, I guess. Belveth. An extra 6 health growth. True damage on attack per stack. It was 6 to 10 plus 12. It's now 6 to 14. So a nice little buff there to Belveth. She gets a little more HP and a little bit more true damage on successive autos. Alright, once again, a cute little buff. Actually, this buff on her R might be pretty huge. Right, because it only scales up to 10, but now it scales up to 14. So you were able to get that full power at level 11 now. So this is probably a lot bigger than I think. But I don't play Belveth, so I can't be entirely sure. Braum, 20 less health. Yeah, I've been seeing double Braum bans. I haven't even gotten the chance to play against it to see what the hype is about because he's banned every single game. So yeah, his health gets reverted to 610. And his Q, 20 less 20 less damage at max rank. Yeah, so it's a incremental decrease all the way up to 20 less at max rank. I don't know, bro. I feel like Braum brings a whole lot of utility to the table. He'll probably still be really strong. But 20 HP is a lot. Do not underestimate that. Briar. Briar lost some of her luster in the new season. Interesting choice of words. Health growth up by 5. Armor growth up by 0.3. Ooh, okay. It's quite a bit more tank. Health cost, 5% current health. 5%, 5%, 5%. Okay, so Briar's abilities cost a little less HP. She's got more HP and more armor. So they're just making her a lot tankier overall. %1 current health is a big deal for a champ with no natural regen. That's dependent on healing. Diana. Monster damage cut by 50%. Damn. Yeah, this is a response to Dusk and Dawn. Dusk and Dawn is such a strong item. Minus 50% though. Sheesh. Are they going to do that to all of the champions abusing Dusk and Dawn? Like Volibear, Gwen, Varus? Draven. 0.4 AD growth. You know the weird thing about Draven? I feel like Draven hasn't been a particularly strong champion in a while. But I still see him banned so often just by people who have, like, I guess, bad experiences against it in the past. Echo. Time has been on Echo's side this year. We're taking a swing on both his clear speed and burst. I mean, again, another Dusk and Dawn abuser, right? AP ratio increased, monster damage decreased. I mean, but this is more of an adjustment than a nerf. An extra 10% on the AP ratio is a pretty big deal, because when he gets that lead, he gets a couple items. This is going to hurt. It does slow his jungle clear speed, though, so overall, this is probably a buff to Echo mid, and just a nerf to Echo jungle, which is understandable. Ezreal's been in a pretty weak spot. AD growth, up by 0.25. Arcane Shift, his E. Plus 10% bonus AD. Wow. You know, it's funny. Ezreal's one of the champs who likes Endless Hunger as well, so this could be pretty substantial. Hecarim. Rampage, his Q. 60 to 160 is now 60 to 180, so an extra 20 base damage. Damage amp per Rampage stack. Plus 3% per bonus 100 AD. Really? For those who don't want to do the math, the net result of both keychains is a strict buff until around 225 bonus AD. Yeah, so his early and mid game are going to be way better with the bonus damage. Thank you for adding this, Riot, by the way. Just going ahead and putting it there. Until 225 bonus AD. So really, not until much later on. That is after he gets several items. Heimerdinger. Health growth, plus 4. I don't even remember the last time I've seen a Heimerdinger. Hextech Micro Rockets. Initial hit damage. It was 40 to 140. It's now 50 to 150. So plus 10 damage. Those are very, very small buffs. But you know what? If Heimerdinger becomes good, he's going to instantly destroy top lane. So I kind of get it. Incremental buffs is probably the way to go. Alright, Jace. I've been seeing a lot of Jace. Jace jungle is extremely popular, man. Jace's build has bounced around a lot over time. He's been a tank, a lethality burst mage. He's been a fighter. We'd like if Jace were an 80 fighter, caring about both his damage output and durability. He's also still better in the jungle than in top lane, so we're here to revisit him. Our goals for Victor's better half are to give him a viable fighter build and a viable but not overbearing jungle role. We're reducing his reliance on bonus AD and shifting power from his poke into his melee damage and follow-up. So to the skies, 60 to 285. It's now 60 to 310, so a good 30 damage. 25 damage. Monster bonus damage down to 10. Shock Blast, 80 to 310 plus 140. It's now 80 to 285, so that's a nerf to the base damage, and 10% minus for the bonus AD. With the nerf to monster damage. Yeah, so they're nerfing the Q pretty heftily there to stop Jace from just poking you out. Armor and magic resist shred. Buffed, actually. From 10 to 25 is now 20 to 35. Yeah, so what they're doing here is to make Jace less likely to just sit on the outskirts and shoot you from far away with Shock Blast, and make him more willing to go in with his melee form. I think that's a good change, honestly. The most frustrating thing about dealing with Jace is his ranged form and how reliable it is for poke and safety. So forcing most of his strength into his melee form, I think, is a pretty fantastic change overall. For both jungle and top lane. Alright, Kayn. Blue Kayn specifically has become much weaker. We'd like to fix that with some direct buffs. Okay, so his Q, 75 to 175, is now 75 to 195. So a nice 20 damage to his base spell. Not a whole lot, but you know, some consistent damage, some consistent buffs to base damage are always welcome. The problem is I feel like red cane is going to take more advantage of base damage buffs than blue cane, but we'll see, right? Maokai, Bramble Smash, his Q, flat damage, 60 to 245, 75 to 255, so plus 10 damage at all ranks. Alright, the thing everyone was worried about, Mel. I'm so sick of seeing this argument, by the way. What's up, Fried? People are always saying that that Mel looks obnoxious, and you know that's it. She's not a good champion, and I agree with that. But I feel like it doesn't need to be said so often. Anything looking broken? I wouldn't say broken. Heimerdinger got some small buffs, nothing crazy just yet. We haven't hit anything particularly scary just yet. Trundle's getting buffed, Zahin's getting buffed, Trendemir's getting buffed, and Yone's getting buffed. So, potentially. Anyway, Mel. Attack speed ratio. So she has higher base attack speed. Passive. This is the execute and the bonus damage, right? So the projectile damage is halved. And 2% less AP. Damn. Total projectile damage. From 150 to 75. From 15% to 9%. Holy crap. They gutted her passive. Q, Radiant Volley. Now deals additional damage the first time an explosion hits with reduced effectiveness from subsequent hits. So the initial hit, 180 plus 60. Subsequent hits, 9 plus 5. Alright, so if you get nicked with it at the start, you take a huge chunk of burst damage. And then the extra hits afterwards do a little bit more damage. Total damage. 230 plus 51 to 85 is now 260. 85 to 100. So it actually is buffed if you hit the full channel. Mana cost also lowered by 20 at max rank. 100% minion damage. A longer cast time though. That is substantial. That makes it easier to dodge. Oh, the speed got cut down too. And the radius. And the spread. Holy crap. Okay, so it's slower, it's smaller, and it takes longer to cast. So even though it's a little bit more damage, it's way easier to deal with her Q. Okay. Rebuttal. One of the most frustrating abilities in the game because it actually completely destroys a lot of champions' trade patterns. No longer provides damage immunity. Instead, it gives a shield, 200 plus 60 AP at max rank. Physical damage reflected is reduced by 30% before magic damage conversion. So it still reflects. And if you reflect a physical ability, I guess like a Caitlyn Q, it actually loses 30% of its damage before it converts. Destroys projectiles that target each unit in an area instead of reflecting them. So like Katarina R and Samira R, where you could just like destroy those champions. Yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. I think that's actually a change that was very, very much needed. And she gets a little bit more movement speed over a longer period of time. I think it's nice that it stops damage immunity, because this means that if it's not a projectile, she still gets hurt. She gets a shield to compensate, but like, it's not a Fiora parry anymore. Solar Snare. Missile radius. It's smaller. It travels twice as fast, though. Or no. This is how long it stays afterwards, so it decays faster. Smaller. Less range. The projectile speed is a little higher. Okay. Cooldown. -1 at all ranks. Root duration. 1.5 flat. Damage. +20 at max rank. Damage per second. Increased by 8? No longer visually pops at the end when descending terrain. Interesting. So it doesn't last very long. It's smaller, but it flies a little faster and does a little more damage. That makes sense. It is it's a utility ability. The main point is slowing and catching people. So even though it's a little faster, the fact that it's smaller means it's harder to hit. And her ult, damage per stack, 4 to 10 plus 3.5, 4 to 10 plus 4. So she gets a little bit more damage on her ult. That's interesting. I think this is going to be the big thing here. Her abilities are actually harder to hit. Because the problem with Mel, if you ask me, is that she was idiot-proof. There's a little bit more skill to be shown with this champion now, finally. And the rebuttal isn't a guaranteed stop-all damage. We'll see. This champion's biggest problem was that she was really frustrating to fight against because she destroyed trade patterns. But the fact that rebuttal is like this now already puts her in a dangerous position. Because no damage immunity just means that, like, an assassin dropping their full combo on you. You get a shield, but if there's no projectile, you just get blown up. We'll see. Nefiri. Passive. Packmate monster damage. So they're rebuffing Nefiri jungle. That worries me a little bit. Neela. Attack damage -2. Armor growth -0.3. Really? I see Neela once in a blue moon, but every time I see her, she gets a pentakill. So I guess this champion is way better than I think. She's just unpopular. Nunu. Biggest snowball ever. +30 on the max damage at max rank. No, it's +30 across the board. Wow. Yeah, I guess the nerf was a little too severe. Snowball Barrage, 14 to 42 is now 15 to 45. So some cute little buffs to Nunu. Okay. Riven. Okay. Riven. Total AD ratio, -5% at max level. Okay. Broken Wings. 40 to 165 plus 85% bonus AD. 40 to 165 plus 80. So -5% for both her passive and her Q. So Riven's late game is going to suffer. I don't know. I feel like this champion really pops off in the early mid game more than anything because she face rolls so many other champions, but a Riven nerf is a Riven nerf, I guess, I suppose. Rise. Rise is risen up the ranks this season and is due for a reduction in power. This champion can never catch a break. If Rise is good, he's getting nerfed. It's really because of Actualizer, though. Rune Prison, 60 to 180 plus 70 is now 60 to 180 plus 60% AP, so -10% AP ratio and -1% for the mana ratio. That's fine. It's Rune Prison. That's fine. What are these wrist slapped? Riven makes money, I guess. That's why. I've never particularly seen Riven as a late game champion, but you know what? She's popular and she makes money, I guess. Trundle's doing very poorly in both of his main roles. Armor growth, +0.6. Attack damage growth, +0.5. Huh. I don't see any Trundle. I don't know that this would shake up top lane much because Trundle just kind of wins every 1v1 against melees after level 6. Jungle, though, this might be a big deal. Tryndamere, attack... Okay, I was really hoping that it wouldn't be a huge buff. He gets half a damage. So, at level 20, he's getting +10 damage. +10 AD. Okay, that's not as horrific as I was thinking. Varus, okay, please. This champion has caught a bad rap because Dusk and Dawn Varus top is so horrific to deal with. Armor growth, minus 0.6. Okay. He's easier to kill. Blighted quiver, on hit damage, minus 10% AP. Max health damage, minus 0.2 per 100 AP. So it's a nerf to AP Varus. I don't know. This is a very much appreciated nerf, and it does impact him throughout the game. Like, minus 10% AP is a huge deal for the on hit. But this max health damage, I don't know if this is enough. Because at the end of the day, laning against this is going to suck one way or another. Being able to kill him easier is nice. But what worries me the most is Varus buys 3 items and then starts buying tank items because he's like Vayne and he just starts one-shotting you. He doesn't care anymore. So this might be enough to force him to stay squishy just to hit that one-shot potential. But we'll see. Vi. Plus 6 health growth, plus 0.5 attack damage growth. I'm actually shocked. Vi doesn't serve victory anywhere but pro play. Okay, well. Yeah. I was just about to say in pro play this champ's foolproof because you have a point and click suppress. Or I guess it's not a suppress, it's a knockup that you just can't get away from. Okay. The Baus will be happy about a Vi top buff, I suppose. Volibear. So, Volibear is another big winner from Dusk and Dawn. Thundering Smash, bonus physical damage. 10 to 90 plus 120 is now 10 to 50, minus 40 base damage. Wow. But plus 20% bonus AD. Okay, so this is actually a massive buff if you play AD Volibear. Sky Splitter, plus 2 seconds. Non-champion damage cap. Minus 40. So this is a huge nerf to AP Volley, especially AP Volley Jungle. I can live with that. I can live with that. But really, it's just the sins of Dusk and Dawn. They should just nerf Dusk and Dawn. Xin Zhao. Heal every third hit. It was 3.54. Now it's 3.45. So a little bit more healing from his passive. Audacious Charge, bonus attack speed, 40 to 60 is now 40 to 80, plus 20% bonus attack speed. That can be pretty substantial. Yone, okay. Mortal Steel, 25 to 125, plus 105 bonus AD. 25 to 125, plus 5% bonus AD scaling on his Q. We know it can feel unfair to lose him simply right-clicking you. Yeah, I guess if they have to buff Yone, this is where you would want the buff. He has to land the Q. I don't know. Yone is another champ that I don't like getting buffed particularly. Zahin, monster modifier is now up to 2 times. Bonus monster damage on his E is now 75 as well. Huge buffs to Zahin Jungle. Okay. Zed. We regret having Jungle Zed in 3 of the past 4 patches. The players keep getting better and playing it itemized. Zed has been broken for more than 4 patches in the jungle. It's been almost 4 years now. Damage to 0.5. Oh my god, it's less than half. Maximum damage to epic monsters, 100. I mean, yeah, his passive is that extra powerful auto attack he gets off. Okay, they're really trying to damper down Zed Jungle and bring him back to being main role mid. Alright, items. Actualizer and Dusk and Dawn. We saw it coming. Actualizer costs less gold. Really? 300 less gold for Actualizer. This is ironic. So they throw out small nerfs to Ryze's W and then make Actualizer cheaper. So Ryze is still absolutely fine. Kassadin is very happy about this. I think the problem with Actualizer is that it has a very niche set of champions who want it. Right? Like, I think Ryze, I think Kassadin, I think maybe Anivia. And then nothing else really jumps out at me as being like a huge power spike when I finish this item. Dusk and Dawn. Okay. Spellblade damage. Minus 25% base AD. Health. 300 to 350 gold. What does this mean? Is it giving more health? Is it plus 50 HP in exchange for the minus 25% AD? Has a healthy number of good users, but it's a bit too good at bursting and taking a little too much of Lichbane's space. I don't think this really changes anything. Little too much of Lichbane space. Who builds Lichbane over this, aside from, like, Fizz? And even then, like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to need to do a follow-up on Dusk and Dawn, but I guess we'll see how the patch lands first. They already nerfed a significant number of the Dusk and Dawn users. And I'm shocked that Gwen's not on here, by the way. Endless Hunger. The item is looking okay late in builds for the intended caster fighter audience, but could be a bit better earlier in the game and can be awkward to build. So now it'll be Warhammer Pickaxe Longsword. It costs a little more, but it gives a little more AD. Endless Hunger is kind of a weird item. I feel like it's going to take a little bit longer for people to optimize this in the builds. But I've seen like Ezreal really likes it. Protoplasm Harness. Lifeline max health gain. 200. It actually gives an extra 100 based on level now. Lifeline healing. 200 to 400. It actually gives way less armor and magic resist. Holy crap. Minus 75% armor and MR. Extraordinarily powerful for the users that can leverage the resistance scaling and somewhat unexciting for most other users. I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's just like Endless Hunger. It has a niche audience of people who really, really like it. Right? And Actualizer. But the people who do like it are just way too good with it. A little more ability haste. Who knows? We might not see much of that item at all. Armored Advance. Noxine Endurance Shield. So an extra 80 for the base shield. Plus 8% bonus HP. Okay. Oh, I see. So the scaling begins at level 9. So you have to get to level 9 first. But then once you do, it's a strict buff. Yeah, so you can't just like rush boots and then finish your quest early and then have, yeah. See Armored Advance. So it's the same thing just for the magic resist shield. Runes Cashback. Cashback was buffed late last year and finally has an audience of its own. A little overboard, so 0.5. Okay. Don't want to give too much gold. Phase Rush ranged effectiveness has been cut down again. Honestly, thank goodness. I mean, they're talking about mid lane here, but this sucks top lane too. Right? Like Vladimir. It sucks to deal with. Nice. So 75 is now down to 50. 12.5. Well, 18.75 to 37.5 is now down to 12.5 plus 25% movement speed. Yeah, this is a massive nerf. This is huge. A huge nerf for ranged phase rush users. Triple Tonic. Elixir of Force to Adaptive Force. -5. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people tech Triple Tonic into their build, especially a lot of junglers. right? Getting the bonus almost a full item's worth of damage could lead to a massive power spike in the middle of the game at no extra cost. Especially since people were combining this with cashback. So you could cash in on a bunch of gold after hitting a little power spike. Yeah. Alright, then some changes to Arena. Hang on. I actually want to look at Hellfire Hatchet. To 35. It's nerfs per one. Okay. Ranked system updates for Summoner's Rift. Apex negative LP gains. Oh, I see that. A lot of people at the top of the ladder are losing like 30 OP per loss, but only gaining like 15 or something. Aegis of Valor eligibility. Master rating to unlock Aegis of Valor is pushed from C to B. Okay, that's a good change too, because people were like, I'll just play for a C, and all that meant was, I'm not going to int. So now they have to actually, hopefully, be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Proactive, you know, trying to actually win the game rather than just get a good score. Duo at the top of Challenger. What does this mean? As committed in 2026, ranked devlog, enable the climb indicator. Feature will help players understand and identify whether someone's rank is low but their MMR is higher. This will help players in general have a better idea of fairness of a match. Okay. WASD, don't use it, don't care for it, but flash direction setting is coming to WASD of movement abilities. Cool. Co-op versus AI. Streamer mode. All information in chat from the lobby in the game will also be hidden from you. Oh my goodness. So you actually, if you have streamer mode enabled, I guess you can't see anyone else's name either. Cool. Then some Clash. Your shop's coming back. Demacia Rising's getting upgrade. Bunch of bug fixes and new skins. The next round of Firecracker skins. Okay. Damn. We're finally done with League of Legends.